back again. This is a very, very special podcast tonight. Of course, you all know Tomas at this point. He's been on numerous times, I think. How you doing, my friend?
I'm doing good, man. How about you? We just saw a great night of wrestling, and as we were just talking about, we're going to have a lot of wrestling to talk about in the next few weeks because we got some pay-per-views for the next 3 weekends. We got SummerSlam tomorrow night. The following weekend is literally a throwaway pay-per-view WWE decided to throw at us in Payback.
Yeah.
So looking forward to that. And the following weekend is going to be All Elite Wrestling's All Out. So it's going to be a fun next couple of weekends. I'm looking forward to it.
It is, yeah. And to my viewers out there, please feel free to look forward to all podcast wrestling in regards to all those events. I'm looking to provide some nice coverage for you guys on those. But starting with this show, NXT TakeOver 30. I cannot believe they've already reached 30 takeovers. I mean, the first takeover feels like it was only yesterday at this point in 2015. Time flies when you're having fun. These takeovers never disappoint.
Yeah.
But this.
Oh yeah, and one thing I want to say right now is it took me halfway into the show when they mentioned it. I didn't know that they returned to Full Sail for the show. That was a nice breath of fresh air because I noticed the stage was a little different. I know they do things in different parts of the performance center, but when they revealed that, hey, we're home in Full Sail, I was like, you know what? That's pretty cool. That's pretty awesome. Hopefully they can do some more shows there because it just feels right. It feels right for NXT to be at Full Sail University.
Yeah, I'm sure they will do some more takeover specials over there. This isn't the first takeover they did over there. They also did takeover in your house earlier this summer at Full Sail, and it was a beautiful, beautiful set. I really like the set for TakeOver 30. Very reminiscent of WrestleMania 30 with 3 big X's right in the center of the stage, and it just looked really, really cool. But real quick, just a side note, I did not get to watch the Kickoff Show match at the time of recording. It was a triple threat match to determine the number 1 contenders for the NXT tag team titles. If you want to take the lead on this, Tomas, because I know you watched it.
Yeah, was able to catch the pre-show. Before I get into that, I want to make one quick note about the stage again.
Of course.
This is something I've noticed ever since WrestleMania 31, the WrestleMania that we were at. I really like it, and it's a nice touch when during the match on the stage, you can see like who's fighting. Like, for example, opening match was Finn Bálor and Timothy Thatcher. You had, Bálor on one side, Thatcher on the other side. It's really nice to look at. It's just little details like that. But like you said, I did catch the pre-show, and it was Legado del Fantasma, which was represented by Raul Mendoza and Joaquin Wilde, versus Breezango, Tyler Breeze, and Fandango, versus Danny Burch and Oney Lorcan to determine the number 1 contenders for the NXT tag team titles. This was a fun match. Good tag team stuff going back and forth. I didn't really take any notes like play-by-play wise, but it was definitely a fun kickoff show. The match ends when there's a lot of chaos going on in the ring, some good spots going on. Tyler Breeze is able to hit the supermodel kick, which I believe he hit Joaquin Wilde with it, and he was able to get the pin. So Breezango are now your number 1 contenders for the tag team titles. What I'll say about that is that will definitely be a fun match for them to go against Imperium, Fabian Eichner, and Marcel Bartel. The only, I'm glad that I was pleasantly surprised later on in the show, but the hype package for this match was a interview with Walter, the current NXT UK champion. And I just thought, man, it sucks that we don't get to see Walter in NXT right now. He can't come to the States. We can't see Walter in NXT UK. But, that should have been like a good omen for things to come, which we announced in the show. But it was just a lot of Walter hyping up Imperium. And it just sucks that Imperium can't be at full power right now. Thankfully, we'll get to see that in the next month or so. But Breezango wins the match. And it was definitely fun. If I were to give a rating, I'd probably give it 3 stars. It was a typical pre-show match. Yeah, it didn't go too long. They had like a little timer going on in the corner. I think
like the countdown, to the actual show. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it went like 10, 15 minutes. So fun stuff there.
Sounds like a fun little match. I will provide my own rating down in the description box below once I get a chance to watch it, but it does sound like a fun match. I will say that Breezango is like one of my favorite tag teams in the whole company. Like they've been so like ever since they formed. I just have always thought they were so funny. Yeah. And I feel like
especially they came back to NXT. I've loved their different gimmicks. Like one week they'll be the pilots, and one week they'll be the doctors, and one week they'll be a different type of character that you would see in a film that we're not going to say on this podcast. And I love how Beth Phoenix falls for it every single time. Like, she'll say, like, oh, yeah, Breezango were trying to teach me how to fly a plane, and they told me to keep a tight grip on the joystick. And
Oh, no.
And say, like, Beth, I don't think they were teaching me how to fly a plane. So, God bless Beth Phoenix. I love her.
I hope.
But yeah. Breezango has been fun.
I hope Edge wasn't watching that. But anyway, Breezango are the fashion police. They're just priceless. I loved their line when they were actually doing the fashion files on SmackDown Live. Like Fandango was holding up like just your normal leather belts that you'd find on any normal pair of jeans. He's like, I get it now. It's a title. And Tyler Breeze is like, no, that's a belt. And like that joke,
I love that.
I tend to bring that up, in conversation with a lot of my wrestling friends, like because the word belt is kind of prohibited on actual programming. But yeah, no, they're definitely a fun team, and I'm definitely curious to see how they mesh with Imperium, because they're clearly two very different styles here.
Oh yeah, I don't think Breezango will take the titles off of Imperium. Especially with the return of NXT UK coming back up. But that'll be a fun match. That'll definitely be a fun match, whether it be at the next TakeOver, probably on an episode of NXT.
Probably.
But yeah, we're going to be moving into the main show now.
Yeah.
This is NXT TakeOver 30. Like you said, it feels like, I can't believe we're already at 30 takeovers.
Right.
They've been and they've always been good. That is one thing I've noticed about NXT and their takeovers. And, call us a couple of marks. I know in this day and age of pro wrestling, it is illegal to prefer NXT over like AEW, something like that. But you know what? I don't care. I'm an NXT mark. I love NXT. I love takeovers. There's never been a bad takeover to me.
No.
Unfortunately, there are some weaker matches on this show tonight, and I got to call it like it is. But takeovers always seem to just serve that quality of wrestling that if you don't like what they're doing on Raw and SmackDown right now, maybe NXT is more for like someone who may appreciate more pro wrestling more than anything else.
Yeah. Also worth noting, this show is being called by Vic Joseph replacing Mauro Ranallo. Vic Joseph I love also. Corey Graves and Beth Phoenix joining them remotely. I don't know what's going on with Mauro right now. Oh, no, Graves
was actually there.
Graves was there. Yeah, Graves was actually there.
Graves and Joseph were actually there. Beth Phoenix was remote.
Yes.
But when I saw Vic Joseph on NXT last week, I was just like, where the hell has Vic Joseph been? I'm so glad he didn't get fired. I was scared for a while he got fired, or he was just on the back burner for whatever reason, because he was the main play-by-play guy on Raw for a while. Yep. And that time, he was my favorite. He made Raw worth watching just because his commentary was so good. And he'd be able actually to call matches without, making them boring. And when they replaced Vic Joseph with, I don't remember who he got replaced with, but
Tom Phillips.
The Raw commentary team this year has definitely it's been juggled around. We started off with Jerry Lawler and Dio Madden, and then Dio Madden got replaced with was it Tom Phillips?
It was Tom Phillips is on Raw right now. But
yeah, did he replace Dio Madden, or was that Renee Young?
I don't even remember.
Like I think the commentary team has been changed around so much this year.
Dio Madden just like disappeared from
he did. I thought I saw him on Raw the other week during Raw Underground. I could be wrong, but
I did too. I thought that was him too. So I'm not the only one then. I was like, was that Dio Madden on Raw Underground? Man, he's gone down south. But anyway,
anywho.
But yeah, so the opening match, like you mentioned earlier, was Finn Balor, the Prince, taking on your boy from Sacramento, Timothy Thatcher.
Let me tell you, I pop every time they say from Sacramento, California.
Yeah.
I think Thatcher has to be the biggest wrestler to come from Sacramento, and that's awesome. I've never met Thatcher personally, but yeah. Who? I'm sorry, who?
What about Ken Shamrock?
The guy from TNA? The UFC guy? Anywho, I'm going to ignore that comment. I don't know Thatcher personally, but I've seen him wrestle a few times. Especially in the show where I met MVP, and MVP went out of his way to call Thatcher like one of the greatest wrestlers in the world. Glad Thatcher's finally in NXT. All I have to say is it's about time.
Yeah, Thatcher looked so good in this match. This was a really, really intense like fight between these two. It felt very different from every other Finn Balor match that we've gotten on the takeover so far, mostly because of his opponent who is across from him. Timothy Thatcher is like as catch can gets in this day and age, or Thatch can, if you will. That's a weird saying, Corey Graves, but
that's one thing I noticed, especially about this opening match. I know a lot of people tend to criticize NXT for it's just high spot after high spot after high spot, near fall after near fall after near fall. And that was the exact opposite of what this match was. There was a lot of chain wrestling, because that's what Thatcher is known for. For almost 20 years now, I have always said there is not a man on this planet that can out wrestle Kurt Angle. Now I'm replacing that with there is not a man on this planet that can out wrestle Timothy Thatcher. He is just so damn good in that ring. Definitely taking Finn Balor for a chain wrestling ride. Most of this match was on the ground in submission holds. Thatcher working on different parts of the body, working on the leg, working on the arm, pulling out a Kimura at one point, which I know is one of Thatcher's signature moves. So yeah, you can't get more wrestling than this match was.
Yep, and I kept count during this match. They only left the ring one time, and it was only Timothy Thatcher that went out for a quick breather. But other than that, this was all ground and pound in the ring, a lot of submission-based wrestling. Finn Balor was selling his knee throughout a lot of this match, and I feel like that's really, really good storytelling. Finn Balor is one of the best wrestlers in the entire company as far as I'm concerned. But to your point, Kimura by Timothy Thatcher, which is a nice little callback because Finn Balor actually has tapped out to the Kimura lock before, because if you recall his Universal title match with Brock Lesnar at the Royal Rumble, that's how he lost. Nice little callback there. I would love to see Timothy Thatcher versus Pete Dunne with all this joint manipulation is what I wrote down.
Absolutely. They were commenting that throughout the entire match with the joint manipulation. Yeah, I really enjoyed this match. This was a different way to open the show and a different style of wrestling that I feel like just really isn't there anymore. And I feel like this is just going to go hand in hand with the return of NXT UK coming up. I feel like this is more British style wrestling that a lot of fans aren't really used to, especially in this more mainstream side of pro wrestling.
Yeah, I feel like Timothy Thatcher would mix up really well with a lot of those UK guys with those similar styles. I feel like they would put on in-ring classics. But this match was super stiff. Timothy Thatcher with a really loud knife edge chop, and Finn responds by hitting the hardest Pele kick I've ever seen in my life. Great stuff. Finn Balor starts a comeback. Beautiful counter of a sling blade, which I don't think I've ever seen anybody counter out of a sling blade like Timothy Thatcher did. That was really clean. Some really great counter wrestling, some nice near falls. Finn Balor misses a coup de grace. He lands on the bad knee. He sells it. Timothy Thatcher locks on a single leg crab. Like, the look in Timothy Thatcher's eyes, he looks like he was about to kill this poor lad. Like, my goodness.
Oh, yeah. I think the first thing I said was he looks like a shark after he smelled blood. Thatcher was just bloodthirsty for that leg, locked in that single leg crab.
Locking in that ankle lock also. Finn Balor rolls out of the ankle lock. But finish comes around. Finn Balor rolls out of it, hits the double foot stomp, hits the coup de grace. But Finn Balor doesn't pin it after the coup de grace. He hits it with a 1916. That gets the 3 count. Man, this was a really good match to open the show. I'd give this thing maybe 3.5, 3 3/4 stars out of 5. Really solid work from both guys. Like I said, it's a different style for a Finn Balor match at a TakeOver. And they also note that this is Finn Balor's 12th win at a TakeOver, which is insane. In my opinion, this is the second best Thatcher match in WWE, only after the Fight Pit. I feel like he looked like $1 million even in defeat.
Oh, yeah. Definitely give this match 3.5 stars. I think this match achieved both things that it was going for, and Balor went over, which I agree that he should have. And especially now that Balor's more tweener more than anything, he hasn't given up this more edgy character that he developed when he turned heel. But I think WWE realized that he's too over with the fans and they can't keep him heel.
Yeah.
Which I think is a double-edged sword when it comes for them. Not to get off on a tangent on that. But also, Thatcher looked so good in this match. He looked good, and this is definitely a guy that should be, he should be a top contender in NXT, and hopefully moves on to the main roster and becomes a top contender in WWE. Not just saying
Yeah.
that because he's a Sacramento boy. He has worked so hard for this, and it showed. It showed.
Totally, yeah. Timothy Thatcher was awesome here, but it was a solid match. My one thing is that this match was kind of just like booked on the fly. It feels like it was just announced like a couple of nights or maybe even the night before TakeOver aired. So there wasn't as much heat as I would have liked, but it was still solid work for two guys that were just kind of thrown together. Yeah.
I'll even go as far as saying I like this match more than the Bálor riddle match from last year.
From War Games.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that was a good match too.
Oh yeah. I definitely, I feel like just Thatcher got more out of Bálor than Riddle could have.
Yeah. I don't think this match was as good as the Fight Pit necessarily. I would love to see them bring the Fight Pit back at some point, but yeah, can't really complain too much with this opener. Next up, I mean, before we have the next match, we see Keith Lee and Mia Yim arrive at the arena. Bayley and Sasha Banks are in the crowd, and they are hyped up because the next match is, oh my God, this is the ladder match for the North American title. Bronson Reed, the thick boy, versus Damian Priest versus Cameron Grimes versus the Velveteen Dream versus my man, Johnny Gargano.
Johnny Takeover.
Yeah, he liked a few of my tweets a couple of years ago. I mean, this was like his first heel run, and at a house show, he was actually facing the Velveteen Dream, and I was one of the only people wearing a Johnny Gargano shirt in the crowd, and I noticed that he was hugging a few of the people in the front row, wearing the same shirt I was, and I was like, I'm going to stand up and see if he notices me, and sure enough, he climbs up to the turnbuckle right directly across from where I am, and I'm cheering. I'm the only one cheering for him in my section, and he points right at me. Shit-eating grin, 2 thumbs up. I'll never forget that moment. Thank you, Johnny Gargano, if you somehow managed to be watching this. But in any regard, this match...
Speaking of Velveteen Dream, did he come out dressed like Scott Steiner?
He did! He did!
That's the vibe I got from the headgear.
That's what I wrote down.
I feel like he had another...
That's what I wrote down.
Dream
I wrote down
coming straight out looking like Big Papa Pump.
Yeah, I wrote down Dream with the Steiner chainmail. I wrote down grand entrance for Damian Priest, almost like a la Razor Ramon. Gargano comes out cosplaying as, I don't know what the hell he was cosplaying as this time around. Like, it looks like Kylo Ren, but I know. As far as I'm
concerned, yeah, as far as I'm concerned, he wasn't dressed as anyone tonight. If there's any comic book nerds out there that want to correct me on this, I'm sure he was, but as far as I don't think he's. Was it In Your House when he was Cable? Or what I claimed it to be Cable?
Yeah, no, I thought he came out as the Mandalorian during In Your House, but
yeah, he was some sort. That's the last one I recognized.
Yeah,
but honestly, I could be wrong, and it could have just been nothing this time.
Or maybe he's just being a heel and he's being really discreet about what he's cosplaying as. But in any regard, the match.
Yeah, you would have to be. Yeah.
But this match was so fucking awesome. The match starts out in the best way when Damian Priest close fists Velveteen Dream out early, and with all the allegations going on, and I'm like, yeah. Good on you, Damian Priest. But anyway, I'm not going to get too into that. But, man, this was impossible to do a play-by-play because there was so much action going around.
There was just, like any ladder match, there was just spot after spot after spot. Personally, I was pulling for Bronson Reed so hard in this match.
Yeah.
And that comes – my favorite spot in the match was later on Candice LeRae got involved, and she did some cool stuff too. But she climbs on Reed's back, and Reed notices that she is on her back. He looks at her, turns around, and the first thing I thought is, wow, you talk about Miss LeRae's wild ride, am I right? And Reed jumps off the top rope with LeRae clutched around his back, piggyback style, and lands a ginormous splash right onto Johnny Gargano. That was definitely one of my favorite spots in the match right there.
Yeah, feels like something straight out of Pro Wrestling Guerrilla for sure, with Candice getting involved and her interference. Am I the only one that wants to see Gargano and Candice walk out with the NXT Tag Team titles one day? I would love to see that.
You know, considering LeRae has, considering she has experience holding tag team titles with other men, I would definitely love to see that. And considering she has good chemistry wrestling other men, never forget when Cedric Alexander sent her into clear orbit that one time. Never forget when the Young Bucks super kicked her with a mouthful of thumbtacks. She can get down and dirty with the boys. Another really good spot was also with Reed. Reed fucking launched Velveteen Dream off of the ladder over the plexiglass and into a table that was, I want to say, 20 feet away from the ring. I could have swore Dream was dead by that point.
Yeah, Dream was definitely eliminated from the equation there. Man, yeah, Velveteen Dream was getting killed in this match. Like, he was taking so many really scary spots. There was a quadruple Tower of Doom at one point, which is definitely a holy shit moment. Bronson Reed, there was a big pile of bodies and ladders in the corner, and Velveteen Dream was like at the bottom of that pile, and Bronson Reed just throws caution to the wind and just runs into the whole pile. And yeah, to your point, Bronson Reed made me a believer. He was freaking awesome in this match, wearing the freaking Bam Bam Bigelow singlet that they alluded to.
I was pulling so hard for Reed in that match.
The thick boy.
But he definitely made a star. He made a star for himself in this match. And in this day and age with pro wrestling, in this day and age right now, especially with these circumstances, when rosters are worn extremely thin, if you want to make a name for yourself, now is to do it. And I think Bronson Reed is doing that. He's making a name for himself right now.
Oh, yeah.
When this is all said and done, hey, you remember Bronson Reed in that ladder match, in those triple threat matches? He looked good. He despite, I mean, spoiler, not winning the match, I think Bronson Reed was the MVP in this match.
He was. And you know who else I think had a really good showing in this match was Cameron Grimes. He definitely did.
Really he got me scared for a second. He was going to win the match, too.
I honestly wouldn't have minded if Cameron Grimes won the match because he's a heel. And, like, you know, Keith Lee just held the title and he's a babyface, the top babyface in the, like, I don't want to say the promotion, but, like, top babyface in NXT for sure. But, like, yeah, no, I wouldn't have minded, like, the title going from Keith Lee to a heel at this point.
At the end of the day, I wouldn't have either. I just was pulling so hard for Reed in this match. Considering that Bronson Reed and technically Damian Priest were the only baby faces in this match, I like to call Priest more of a tweener. But Reed, if you wanted pure baby face, like, Reed was the only way to go. So there was a good chance that a heel. And what I really liked about this match is that everyone there was a point in the match where you thought every single competitor was going to win. Yeah. There was a point where Dream was almost up there. There was a point where Gargano was up. And when Gargano was up there at the very end, I was just like, you know what? Putting the title on Gargano is the safest way to go.
Yeah.
Considering they probably don't want to take a chance on a Grimes. They don't want to take a chance on a Reed. Definitely Dream or Gargano would have been the safer pick. But again, that didn't happen. Priest almost got it. There was a point where after another good spot when Dream did the Dream Valley driver to Gargano on top of Grimes on the ladder. Yeah. There was a point where Reed was the only one in the ring. It's like, you know what? If there was a time to put this guy over, it's right now. Unfortunately, that's not how it went. But that was probably my favorite aspect of the match. I am about this match.
Oh, good.
There was a point where you thought each competitor, it was anyone's match.
Anyone's match, for sure. My favorite spot of the match was Cameron Grimes was climbing a ladder, and I believe there was, like, a bridge, like, with the ropes and the ladder at one point. Johnny Gargano is climbing up another ladder, and he hits a goddamn sunset flip on Cameron Grimes, and he hits the freaking ladder. Crowd chants "Fight Forever" after that, and I wrote down "Fight Forever." I agree. I did not want this match to end.
It was fun. This was not my. This and a match we'll be talking about in a minute were my favorite matches of the night. Like I said, the finish for this match came where Gargano, you thought was going to get the belt. Damian Priest came, and Gargano had unhooked the belt already. Priest had grabbed it was the other way around. Priest unhooked the belt. Gargano grabbed one side of it. They did the classic spot with a la Shawn Michaels, Chris Jericho from No Mercy 2008. Gargano finally slipped. He let go of the title. Damian Priest is your brand new NXT North American champion. At this point, when I thought everyone was going to win, this was definitely a good Priest is a good person to put the title on. He can run with it. He's not quite babyface. He's not quite heel, which is good because he can feud with anyone. I want his first feud to be with Bronson Reed, not only because Reed did so well in the match.
Yeah.
These guys have been jaw-jacking the past couple of weeks. And if you remember a couple of weeks ago on NXT, Priest has been, kind of commenting on Reed's weight. And what I really like about Reed is that, everybody needs that kind of role model in the business. And I want Reed to be that person who's like, hey, if you're insecure about your body, if you're insecure about your weight, if Bronson Reed can do it, anyone can do it.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, to your point, this match was freaking awesome. Yeah, Damian Priest wins the North American title. Good for him. 4 3/4 stars out of 5. Honestly, this was such a damn awesome ladder match. Absolutely crazy. Everybody got multiple moments to shine. Like, how on earth would you follow this match? Like, I definitely envy the people that had to, but like, man, this was just bananas. One of my favorite NXT matches of the year so far, for sure. Everybody was made to look like a star.
I give the match 4.5 stars. That was just so fun to watch from beginning to end. And that's what I like about ladder matches, especially in NXT. They put them on fun. And not to bash AEW, but I definitely enjoyed this a lot more than the ladder match they did at Double or Nothing. The one that Brian Cage won. It was a lot cleaner.
And it wasn't a stupid like gauntlet ladder match, where one of the first 2 guys in the ring could have just climbed the ladder at the beginning and then just ruin it for everybody. But anyway, all 5 guys were in the ring at the same time, pulling off crazy spots. Just can't really complain too much. Next match is one that I really thought I was going to hate. Adam Cole versus Pat McAfee. And yes, this is the same Pat McAfee who was a punter for the Indianapolis Colts for a while. Pro Bowl punter. And this match is 2 years in the making. I agree with Adam Cole 100%. Pat McAfee is a punter, and he's freaking as cocky as he is. Nothing against punters. I played football when I was younger. Like, I was friends with the punter. Like, I have nothing against them, but like,
well, would you say, in the great words of you, that Pat McAfee is just an annoying little pissant?
Pissant, yep. Oh my God, I was so ready to see Pat McAfee get his ass kicked in this match. Excellent builds of this one. I wrote down almost a double turn while the hype package was playing, and then I changed my mind and I wrote down, nope, this is a double turn. Adam Cole is a full-on babyface right now. Undisputed Era, full-on baby.
Oh, yeah. And here's the thing about Pat McAfee. He is one of those people... I can't think of a good example right now, but like a Floyd Mayweather, he knows people don't like him. He knows that he's arrogant and obnoxious and completely full of himself. And he knows going into pro wrestling that a lot of people aren't going to be happy about that. So why not take advantage of that and say, okay, you guys want to not like me? I'll give you a reason to not like me. And I'll admit it worked, because that episode of NXT where they showed Adam Cole on the Pat McAfee show, and Pat McAfee, told Adam Cole, how can you be a good wrestler? You're so small. And how Adam Cole got in his face, I agreed with Adam Cole. It's like, how dare you say that to Adam Cole? He's the longest reigning NXT champion of all time. He has the love and respect of all the pro wrestling fans in the world. Who are you to come at him and say, you're not a real wrestler, you're too small? And I feel like Pat McAfee represents those out-of-touch wrestling fans, those older wrestling fans that could be like, no, I remember back in the day where, nothing against Hulk Hogan and Andre the Giant, but that's who your pro wrestler was supposed to look like. Maybe a guy, they see a guy like Adam Cole, they see a guy like Daniel Bryan, and they say he can't be world champion because he doesn't draw, as Vince McMahon used as an excuse back in the day. Daniel Bryan won't draw. Finn Balor's not over. Well, have you looked at the crowd? These little guys are obviously over.
And Adam Cole, like, once we get the crowds back, the Adam Cole Bay is going to be so resonant in the building. I am so excited to do that chant again. I've only gotten to do the Adam Cole Bay chant once live. But in any regard, this match, I mean, how they say don't judge a book by its cover? This match was fucking awesome.
It really was. So you go into this match definitely thinking, hey, I want to see Pat McAfee get the shit kicked out of him. And even before the match, like you said, Adam Cole's a babyface now. So he comes out with Undisputed Era, but Undisputed Era don't stick around. But you see, before he even gets to the ring, McAfee's in the back. He's got his crew with him. He's still talking shit. And you're just like, oh my God, can you get McAfee in the ring right now so Adam Cole can kick the shit out of him? And the match starts. McAfee, I'm gonna give this to him right now. He was an excellent heel in this match.
He really was.
Oh my goodness! What the hell? I'm so sorry.
Oh no, it's all good. It's all good.
Damn ads, that kind of scared me.
Blooper reel.
Anywho,
it's all good.
Live podcasts.
Yeah.
What can you say? You're ready to see McAfee get the shit kicked out of him, and they start off the match. He's backing off. He doesn't want to do anything. The match really doesn't get started until McAfee's crew comes out and starts distracting Cole and the referee. Undisputed Era comes out. They all start jaw-jacking. The first thing you see after this is McAfee hit a beautiful swanton bomb onto everybody.
That made me
onto his crew, onto the UE.
That was the first time in a long time where I jumped out of my seat watching a wrestling match. Like, since the pandemic started, it's been kind of like, okay, there's empty crowds. But if there was a crowd for this match, like, they would have been like, what the shit did we just see? Pat McAfee just hit a swanton bomb off the top rope. This is a punter doing a swanton bomb off the top rope. Like, he really impressed me in this match with the athleticism that he had, and we'll get into more in a little bit. Adam Cole fakes out a super kick. He almost knocks his head clean off. Pat McAfee looks so scared. And, yeah, Undisputed Era, to your point, comes out and evens the odd. Pat McAfee, really stiff strikes. He was doing squats, like, before he hit a scoop slam, and I'm like, what a dickhead. He's doing squats.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
that whole time he was working over Cole. He was just he was doing very well.
He really was.
They obviously, one thing that hit me right away is like, look, if McAfee came into the business and the first thing they did was put him in the ring with, I don't know, Big Show, then yeah, it probably would have looked bad. But considering that they're letting him work with an NXT, he's probably getting the best training, and they told him, look, McAfee, you're not going into this match looking like shit. Triple H was not going to let him go into this match looking like shit. So, yeah, he was, getting his stuff in. Later on in the match, and probably my favorite spot in the match, McAfee, not only, they're on the top rope, not only does he do the cleanest backflip that I've ever seen in my life, he leaps up to the top rope, Benjamin style, and in Corey Graves where it hits a picture-perfect superplex on Adam Cole.
Yes.
And at that point, I'm just like, what is Pat McAfee? I may not like him, but he's proven me wrong here.
Backflip lands clean on his feet, like no stumbling whatsoever, like he's a freaking gymnast and not a punter. Then, yeah, to your point, he jumps up to the top rope and hits a perfect superplex. And that's a very close near fall, actually. There were a lot of really close false finishes in this one, too. Pat McAfee back outside goes for the punt kick. He misses, and he hits the steel steps. And Pat McAfee sold that leg throughout the rest of the match. I got to give him credit where credit's due. His selling was solid throughout this match as well. Super kick by Adam Cole to the injured leg. A figure four by Adam Cole. And Pat McAfee's in that thing for a long time. Ends up escaping, hits a low blow because he's a heel. Huge clothesline, and that's where he hits the punt kick. And I was just thinking, like, oh, my God, Pat McAfee's going to win this match. No.
Oh, yeah.
Adam Cole kicks out.
There were several times in this match where I actually thought McAfee was going to go over.
Right.
And, thankfully WWE's smarter than that because there's no buildings. There's no buildings to burn down right now, but I'm pretty sure the Twitter world would have exploded. And I don't know, maybe some flaming bow arrows would have been flying in Florida. I don't know, man. It's a weird time.
That's a great point. I honestly would have been upset, but considering that this is kind of like a celebrity match, like I wouldn't have been that surprised, in all honesty, if Pat McAfee was over. But Adam Cole gives him his comeuppance. He catches him with a super kick eventually. And then he hits the most beautiful Panama sunrise I've ever seen to get the 3 count. Adam Cole wins.
That's another thing. Props to McAfee for taking that move.
Yeah.
That's a very hard move to pull off, and I'm pretty sure it's not a fun move to take, considering that you're getting dropped right on your head. Yeah. And, this isn't like taking the attitude adjustment. This isn't like taking the RKO. This is taking a flip driver in your first match ever.
Like a Canadian destroyer almost.
Yeah, that's the first thing I'm going to say is props to Pat McAfee in this match. I give this match 4 stars.
Me too.
Pretty damn good. And considering McAfee was put in the ring with Adam Cole made him look good.
Yeah.
I feel like everyone won in this match.
Yeah, both guys look great.
If he wants to continue this and just get better, I want to say I'm all for it.
Me
he
too.
Really changed my mind in this match.
Me
and
too.
It successfully turned Adam Cole into a babyface.
In all honesty, this was my favorite celebrity wrestling match of all time. I'm not even joking. This was better than the Stephen Amell match, both of them for sure. This was better than Floyd Mayweather. This was better than Mr. T. Pat McAfee came to play in this one, and he looked awesome.
I don't know, man. David Arquette, Jeff Jarrett, DDP. I don't think you can get better than that.
You don't.
Did I take the wind out of your sails?
This is not WCW 2000. Yeah, 4 stars out of 5. Adam Cole, Pat McAfee looks great. You could also tell this match was personal, which is something that was missing on this show, was that personal animosity feud. This was that match, and they delivered.
Yeah. And I feel like a lot of people going into this were shitting on this match. They were saying, this is a stupid reason for them to be feuding. That he just made short jokes about Adam Cole. There's a better way they could have went about this. But I hope this match proved a lot of people wrong, because it sure as hell proved me wrong.
Me too. I agree.
Yeah.
I'd love to see more of Pat McAfee in an NXT ring for sure. As far as Adam Cole and Undisputed goes, I don't know what they're planning on doing with him next. I mean, Adam Cole could go for an NXT title rematch now that he's a babyface. Spoiler alert. But in any regard, I mean, I could see them being called up to SmackDown or Raw at this point, but I don't know. Only time will tell. But 4 stars out of 5 for me, for sure. This was my second favorite match on the night, and I never thought I would say that in a million years. But in any case, before we get to the next match, we see WWE Champion Drew McIntyre join commentary for a hot minute. Predicts Keith Lee will win the main event for the NXT title. Pretty short and sweet there. Next up is the women's title match. Io Shirai defending against Dakota Kai, the challenger. I honestly had dinner in front of me. This is otherwise known as the dinner break match for both of us, so I didn't take very many notes. I will say
not on purpose. Let's get it straight right now.
No.
We love women's wrestling. I love women's wrestling. There's a lot of times where I like women's wrestling more than men's wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
It was just, it just came up at a bad time. And I love Io Shirai. I love Dakota Kai. This was a good match. I just don't have anything really worth notely saying about the match.
Yeah.
Io Shirai is great. Dakota Kai is an amazing heel. And she had Raquel Gonzalez in her corner, which was the X factor in the match. Commentators going on was like, when's Raquel going to interfere in the match? And one thing I'll say about Io Shirai is move over Christopher Daniels. She has the best moonsault ever.
Oh my God. Io Shirai is the genius of the sky for the reason. But yeah, this match, I mean, there was definitely some very good work in the ring. I overall gave it 3.5 stars out of 5. Just kind of getting ahead of myself there, but the layout of the match was very plain to me. Like, you had Dakota Kai getting the heat. You had, the interference from Raquel Gonzalez, and had the interference from Raquel Gonzalez near the end of the match after the ref bump, and then you have Io Shirai making the comeback and win. It's a very
that's basically
basic...
what the match was. Yeah, I give it 3.25, especially since it was the cool down match of after Adam Cole and Pat McAfee. After the match, Gonzalez attacks Shirai. Rhea Ripley comes out to make the save, and just to say right now, I think Rhea Ripley is the goth GF that we all want in our lives. But one thing that I was extremely surprised, I was expecting a heel turn from Rhea Ripley. I just felt like the stare down.
So I wasn't the only one then.
So the stare down was happening. It's like, why would Ripley be out here to save Shirai from Gonzalez of all people? I just felt like it was going to be an instance of with Chavo and Mysterio and Booker. Chavo looked like he was going to hit Booker with the chair, but he turns on, hits Mysterio. I thought it was going to be Ripley stares down Gonzalez, turns over, sees Shirai, and beats her down because, all the pieces are there. Ripley really has no reason to be a babyface right now, considering Shirai's the champion. and she never got her rematch, her one-on-one rematch for the NXT Women's title. So I
Nope.
feel like that would be enough to push her over the edge to attack Shirai and kind of turn heel and set up that next program. Not to
Yeah.
say they still can't do Shirai and Ripley. I just feel like it was a missed opportunity.
Yeah. It's I thought automatic rematches were out of the question at this point, but like heck, the rules are confusing me now. But Rhea Ripley, like, yeah, she comes down, she has a stare down with Raquel Gonzalez, and I'm just like, are they just doing this to build up to a match on NXT on Wednesday? And like,
Yeah, and I feel like the heel turn would have been a lot more appropriate considering I thought Rhea Ripley was feuding with Mercedes Martinez right now and the Robert Stone brand.
yeah.
So, if they were going to throw that feud out, I feel like it would just make sense to turn Ripley heel.
Right. Yeah. That's fair enough.
That's probably just one of the weaker points in the night. If there was a con section, I would definitely put that there.
Very
Missed
plain match, though.
Two very exciting announcements coming up after this. Number one, NXT UK will be returning September 17th, I believe. I'm very excited for this. I'm probably the only person that watches NXT UK, but I had a lot of fun watching it. There's some really good wrestlers on there. You got your Walter, you got Pete Dunne, you got Imperium, you got Piper Niven, you got Kaylee Ray, you got a lot of good wrestlers over there, the NXT UK brand. If all I gotta say is that if you haven't checked out NXT UK at this point, it's gonna be coming back next month, and it's definitely fun. It's a nice distraction. It's the way I like to look at it.
Absolutely, yeah. They're a great brand, and Tony Storm is on NXT UK. Also, I'm a big Tony Storm fan. Mustache Mountain is on there. I mean, they're a good tag team.
NXT UK coming back. That means only good things for me. The other big announcement is that this Wednesday, Tommaso Ciampa is going to be returning to NXT.
Yes.
And considering how the main event went, you read between the lines. You kind of see what's going on from there.
Daddy's home, my friend. And what is the main event?
The main event is the NXT Championship on the line as Keith Lee defends against Karrion Kross. This is one of those cases where let's get the positives out of the way now.
Yeah.
Karrion Kross's presentation is amazing. Scarlett plays her role very well. Their entrance is very cool. Keith Lee is the NXT champion that we've needed for a very long time. He is my favorite wrestler in NXT. I think he represents the brand. I think he represents, considering going on in the world, Black Lives Matter very well. And this match, well, that's where the positives end, because this match just wasn't doing it for me.
It was very underwhelming, to say the least.
Yeah.
I will say that the match itself started really good. Keith Lee and Karrion Kross were being really stiff with each other in terms of the strikes. Keith Lee, Karrion Kross chokes out his best friend Dijakovic on NXT, and Keith Lee's looking for some revenge here. And you could tell, Keith Lee was starting out hot and quick on Karrion Kross. They're quickly going to the outside. They're using the hockey wall really well.
And I also loved when they Lee threw Kross into it, and it actually broke the panel.
Yeah, no, I think what happened is Keith Lee went for a backhand strike, and Kross moved out of the way, and Keith Lee hit the thing so hard that the thing just kind of flopped over.
Oh yeah. I was waiting. It's is anyone gonna fix that, or are they just gonna leave a broken panel just hanging out there for the rest of the night?
Yeah, we're just gonna leave a broken panel like that. It's all good. But
I was expecting all of the wrestlers just to jump out and go, "Freedom!
Freedom!"
Quick,
like Braveheart.
Make a break for it. Make a break for it. Go quick before they catch us.
or Retribution is going to make a run in or something.
Oh my god,
man! I was waiting for Retribution to come on in. They would have made this match, I think, a little bit more interesting.
Yeah,
pretty much what happened is Keith Lee hits his shoulder on the post, and then Karrion Kross works over that arm forever in the ring.
Yeah, I would say Kross's heat went on a lot longer than it needed to.
Yes.
There's really not much. I was going to say this is probably the most underwhelming NXT title match since Aleister Black and Lars Sullivan.
I really like that match, actually, from Chicago, right?
They fucked up the ending really bad.
Well, because they were being way too stiff with each other, and Lars Sullivan's nose was, broken, so they had to improvise a little bit, but... I'm
talking about how Black whiffed the black mass. And then he had to awkwardly, he whiffed the black mass and Sullivan still sold for it. And then Black had to prop him up and hit him with Black Mass again.
Oh,
And
that's right.
Black was visibly pissed after the match.
Yeah, that match, I like that match, though. That match was a lot better than this one.
Oh, yeah. Lee and Kross was definitely probably the most underwhelming NXT title match.
Very,
sure.
very disappointed. I feel like if this match went like 5 minutes and just got to the point of Karrion Kross killing Keith Lee, like.
Oh, yeah.
But
I am disappointed in this match. Just like I'm disappointed in the finish, which is escaping my mind. I know Kross hit a move, and it kind of just ended.
Yeah, so Keith Lee makes a brief comeback. He hits a spirit bomb for a near fall. He goes up to the top rope to attempt a moonsault, which Keith Lee was not doing any flips in this match, which I think really downgraded the match for me. Keith Lee was limitless, and
this is a match that could have benefited from some near falls.
Yeah, it could have benefited from some near falls, or maybe if you were going to do a match like this, don't give the title to Karrion Kross right now, or give him even the title shot. Wait a couple more takeovers, like build him up like an Umaga, and then like put him in with Keith Lee later on. After.
That's one thing I also feel they rushed into this way too quick.
They Brock Lesnar'd him to the top.
Here's the thing with Kross. They were building him up very well.
Yeah.
He destroyed Tommaso Ciampa. He's been destroying everyone on NXT. And I understand giving him the title shot, but I'm very disappointed that Keith Lee's reign is already over. I was very much enjoying it. Like I said, the way the celebration they gave him at the Great American Bash just made it feel like he was going to be the top guy on NXT for a while. I know Triple H and Vince McMahon feel very highly of Keith Lee. He performed very well at Survivor Series last year. He performed very well in the Royal Rumble this year. And like we talked about before this podcast, I feel like I'm only going to be okay with this if we see Keith Lee on Raw or SmackDown in the next couple weeks. If they want to wrap things up with Kross on NXT, I understand. Maybe do a rematch on an episode of NXT coming up. But if we don't see, if Keith Lee just, goes off and decides to fuck around with someone else on NXT, which I see no reason for.
No.
If this doesn't lead to him going to Raw or SmackDown, I don't see the point in ending his title reign so soon. I understand the rosters are very thin right now. And if their plan is to put Keith Lee on SmackDown per se, then I understand. But if you're just going to jerk him around, if you're just going to jerk him off, then...
Right. Yeah, we were talking about this. Yeah. But pretty much, like, just before we get into, like, the speculation or anything, I should point out that after Keith Lee hit the Spirit Bomb, he goes up for a moonsault. Karrion Kross meets him up on top, and he hits a back suplex off the top rope, and he pins Keith Lee, surprisingly. That ending felt very anticlimactic. I would have really liked – there was a point where Keith Lee was in the chokehold, and, like, if Keith Lee had, like, passed out in that chokehold, like, I would have liked the ending a little bit more, but Karrion Kross just beats him with a suplex. I'm like – but point being,
2.5 stars for me.
2 and 3 quarters, mostly for the beginning of the match, I would say. I feel like this very match underwhelming.
It could have benefited from some near falls. It could have benefited from some more storytelling, like you said, like with the chokehold, a little more intensity. They really, I feel like they hot-shotted this match, and I understand rosters are thin. And they actually were doing a very good job pushing Karrion Kross.
Yeah.
I don't think Karrion Kross would have suffered from a loss here. He could have bounced back really quick. He could have, just turned around and, like, just beat the shit out of someone on NXT. And him and Scarlett could have been pissed.
I mean,
you could have did that and, like, demanded a rematch. They could have done, like...
You could have had Keith Lee beat him here with a surprise roll-up and then pull a Royal Rumble 2007 and put them in a Last Man Standing match. Even though I hate the Last Man Standing match, like, I would have bought that. But, I mean, Karrion Kross was pretty much it was pretty much a Brock Lesnar 2002 push to the top, like...
Yeah, they could have done, a quick finish. Yeah, they could have done, like, the next week on NXT... They asked for a rematch. Lee says no. Karrion Kross could have showed up backstage with a bloody Dominic Dijakovic and say, like, here's the thing, Lee. If you don't give me my rematch, I'm going to continue hurting your friends. I'm going to hurt every single person in this life. Like he said a couple weeks ago, he was going to continue hurting people until he got his title match. This whole thing kind of sparked from Lee's friendship with Dijakovic. So why not kind of push that a little more?
Yeah. This match could have definitely benefited from more heat. Let me just, like, reiterate something really quick. These ratings that we have right here, I think you can agree with me here. This is not on the performers involved at all. Keith Lee is an amazing worker for sure. He's been an amazing face of NXT. If he does, in fact, move up to SmackDown, which I definitely think he's going to, we can get to that in just a minute. But, I mean, Keith Lee is an amazing performer. Karrion Kross has an amazing presence. He's a very lethal striker. I just feel like this match did not, utilize him in the best ways. There was no real Keith Lee flips. There wasn't a lot of martial arts moves from Karrion Kross. It was a lot of really slow heat and rest holds, and they tried to have a big hoss fight, and they didn't exactly play to their strengths.
It's like when Keith Lee and Dominik Dijakovic first started wrestling, and everyone thought these are just two big guys. They're just going to hoss fight. And no, they were doing moonsaults, and they were doing stuff that you should not see guys these sides doing, and that's why everyone loved those matches. If that match would have been more like this, then I'd be singing a different tune here.
Yeah, exactly. It's I don't know if this had anything to do with I actually read up before we started recording that Karrion Kross did in fact suffer a separated shoulder during this match, so I don't know if that affected the quality. So I'm not putting this rating on the performance at all. I just don't think this match was put together very well. They didn't play to their strengths, exactly to your point.
No, considering the build was pretty good.
It was very good. The hype video for this match made me really, really excited for this main event. But probably one of the most underwhelming NXT title matches and NXT TakeOver main events that I can honestly remember. But
yeah.
I mean,
with all things considered, it was still a very fun TakeOver. We had a very fun ladder match, and we had a very good Pat McAfee Adam Cole match. I can't believe if you would have told me yesterday,
I can't believe it either,
that I'm going to leave TakeOver saying McAfee and Cole was better than Lee and Kross, I would have said you're crazy.
Pat McAfee, so let the record show that Pat McAfee had a better rated match on this show than Finn Bálor, than Timothy Thatcher. I'm sorry, buddy. Timothy Thatcher, Io Shirai, Dakota Kai, Keith Lee, and Karrion Kross. Pat McAfee had the second best match on the show, and I never thought I'd be saying that, but if I were to give this show a rating, I'd probably say it's an 8 out of 10. I don't know if I like this more than In Your House, in all honesty. If I really had to think about it, I think In Your House was a little bit more fun to get through. I feel like it was a more consistently booked show. It was a better wrestled show, I think. But I think the ladder match.
How ironic is it that the 30th TakeOver is probably overwhelming?
Yeah. I would say watch this TakeOver.
But yeah, I'd probably give it a 7.5. Fun stuff on there, but.
Yeah, I gave it an 8 mostly because of the work in the ring and the first 4 matches. The ladder match and the Adam Cole Pat McAfee match definitely take this one over the top. Main event was very underwhelming. I don't know where Keith Lee and Karrion Kross go from here. I think the most obvious route for Karrion Kross is a feud with Tommaso Ciampa, where he goes after Goldie again, trying to gain his little girl because daddy's home. Keith Lee, I feel like Tomas was saying that Keith Lee should move up to the main roster, I think, after this. But
yeah, if he's not, then there was no point. There was no point on having him lose the title. Not this soon. If you wanted to wait a couple months, because he beat Adam Cole, and if you're just going to tell me he's a transitional champion for Karrion Kross, I don't think that's fair to Keith Lee.
No.
And honestly, I'm going to take the benefit of the doubt and say they want him on Raw or SmackDown. And I really hope that's the case.
Yeah, we were talking about, not to get too ahead of ourselves, but, considering, if The Fiend does win the Universal Championship at SummerSlam, I don't think The Fiend can be a babyface forever. Maybe what they can do is they can put Keith Lee on SmackDown and then eventually build him up to The Fiend eventually for a Universal title shot because, who knows when Roman Reigns is coming back at this point, but...
Yeah, they need that big hoss babyface, the Braun Strowman, like the Roman Reigns. And I think Keith Lee, if there's any, I think Braun Strowman's doing a very good job of it right now. But if you want to, put some more on there until we get Reigns back, I definitely think Keith Lee is a Roman Reigns would definitely give Keith Lee the blessing.
Getting ahead of ourselves, I think Braun Strowman's a heel now because the Fiend changes all of his opponents. But
we will see. I will judge that next Friday on SmackDown when this whole SummerSlam debacle is said and done.
Yeah, which is a great segue for our podcast, which will probably be up tomorrow. We'll record it tomorrow right after SummerSlam for the channel. Tomas, always a pleasure to have you on the show. Thank you all for watching the podcast. I hope you all enjoyed it. What did you guys think of NXT TakeOver? What was your favorite match? I'd like to know in the comments down below. Feel free to hit that subscribe button as hard as you possibly can. Don't forget to leave the thumbs up on the video. My friend, do you have any final thoughts?
No, I'm looking forward to the next few weeks of wrestling.
Yeah, me too. Thankfully, we have wrestling right now to forget about all the stuff going on in the world, all the California fires. Please stay safe to all our friends in California. Donate to the American Red Cross if you can. They're a great cause. We'll get through this. You know, it's the year 2020. You know, they're throwing a whole bunch of batshit insane stuff at us.
Oh, yeah.
We'll
get
persevere.
Through all this.
We'll win.
Oh, yeah. In a couple of years, we'll be laughing at all this.
Yeah, if we're ever having a bad day, I'll be like, this is a real 2020 right now. But in any case, guys, thank you all once again so much for clicking on the video. Look forward to more fun content very soon. And with all that being said, Back Talk, commence.